1 students and 2 and level 3.
Yep.
We're all in lockdown obviously at the moment, and they're all working remotely, and it's great to have guest speakers like yourself coming along and talking to them. So thank you very much for that. I don't know if you want to start off just talking about yourself and telling the students a bit about you and your restaurants, and then we can end with some questions if that's okay.
What part do you want to know about?
So just about your journey from MasterChef to where you are now owning your restaurants would be great to hear, and the journey you took.
Yeah, well, I would rather do the journey than a TV show.
Okay,
because
yeah.
you know, I started this game because I loved cooking, not because I wanted to be on TV.
That's great.
I started cooking at 16 years old. I was an apprentice actually in Gleneagles Hotel in Scotland, so one of the best hotels in the country. I was very fortunate to get an apprenticeship there. And it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. Owned by Diageo, so an alcohol brand. I was the youngest there by far, but the inspiration and the real excitement of that teamwork in a kitchen and the food that I was tasting really, really, you know, set the fire alight in my belly. I was there for 3 years because it was my apprenticeship. And then I came down to London. Like every boy has a dream about working in London. And I knocked on all the good restaurant doors and just says, let me work for free and get some experience within your guys' kitchens. So I did just that, and it was great. Obviously, funds ran out massively because I come from a normal background. I created all my company myself. And then, working from I've only worked in like 5 different places, but I worked there for a long, long time until I can really absorb as much of the knowledge I get from the chefs I work with. I opened my own restaurant group 7 years ago, round about that, 6-7 years ago. First one E1 in Shoreditch, and then at the moment we're in my Covent Garden restaurant, my flagship, because I'm doing my home deliveries from here. But yeah, we have a hotel on Sloane Street with 4 or 5 different outlets in it, Covent Garden, 2 bars, and some restaurants. Yeah, that's really it. Summarized it.
Fantastic. We've been very lucky that myself have visited your flagship restaurant, The Frog, in Covent Garden, and we've eaten there as well, which was amazing. And we've also brought some students up to you. I don't know if you remember last year. They came
in my
up.
Chelsea site.
Yes, and they did some work for a competition with you as well, and some of your staff, which was great. Oh, yeah, really, really good. Thank you very much for that. We've got some questions that students have asked. I'll go with the first one first. Jay, are you online? Hi, do you want to introduce yourself to Adam and ask your question?
So hi Adam. I was one of the students that came to visit you in Chelsea for the competition. So your signature dish, Mother, do you mind explaining the backstory behind the dish?
Yeah, so Mother was created 7 years, actually a bit more than 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. And when I first opened my very first restaurant, you know, I was a bag of nerves. The first time someone, I think I was like 24 at the time, 25, was going to open their own restaurant. I had 50 journalists, food critics, big dogs in the industry coming down to taste my opening night. And my mum and dad, who are super humble, were very, very excited to come down and see the little boy's first restaurant. But on the way down, my mother, being a total pain in the arse she is, decided to tell me she's vegetarian. And I'm like, Mum, what the fuck are you doing? You know, I've created this menu. It's 10-course menu. It's everything that we've been working on, and not one of them is a vegetarian dish. This is before veganism and veggie was very popular. So I created a dish called Mother using the 5 taste sensations. So it's the only dish that contains sweet, salty, savory, bitter, and umami in one dish. And I called it Mother and explained that story to embarrass her. But it actually seemed to be one of the most tastiest dishes of the night, so it stayed on the menu ever since.
That's great. I've actually eaten that dish as well. It is amazing. And we've actually entered that dish into a competition and practiced cooking at college as well, didn't we, Jay?
Yeah. It was a really good experience.
Awesome. I'm glad.
Thank you for that. We've got another question from Jake. Jake, you online? I can see you are. You got to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
You introduce yourself to Adam and ask your question.
Hi, Adam. I'm Jake.
Yeah.
What was the meaning behind the name of the frog?
I called it the Frog because, again, when I opened my first restaurant, it was either I'm going to succeed or I'm not. You know, I didn't have people behind me with bag loads of money. It was me that I lied to the banks. I lied to, you know, to get loans, obviously, not to rob the thing. You know, so creating ways to bring in as much money and savings as possible. And frogs are in the water, so they're either going to sink or swim. And my idea to call it the Frog was an internal joke about, is my restaurant going to succeed or is it going to fail? And I called it the Frog because of that.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. It's
No worries.
really, really interesting. Louis, are you online? I can see you there. You've got a question for Adam. Could you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Louis.
Oh, hey, Chef.
Hi, Chef. Do you want to introduce yourself to Adam and ask your question?
I didn't have a question.
You came through, you did. I can skip to the next person, but I thought you did. Okay, no worries.
Sorry about that.
Jack, you online? I can see you online, Jack. Maybe.
Hello.
Hello, Jack. You got a question for Adam?
Hi, Adam. What advice would you give a young chef entering into their first job?
Find a chef that proper inspires you. You connect with his style of food and hound the life out of him until you get a job. And when you get that job, you write every single thing that he says down, and you always ask the question why, regardless of how many times they tell you to shut up.
Why is a good question. I always like that.
It is.
It's because you need to understand why for everything, and then you can learn it. So thank you for that. We've got a NVQ student. So one of our students works in the industry and comes to college 1 day a week. Darren, you online?
Yep. Hi.
Do I ask your question to Adam?
Yeah. Hi, Adam.
Hiya.
Listen, our lecturer and us have been discussing the butterfly concept.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you see? We think that's great, but what do you see as the next trend in food?
I'm not really into trends in food whatsoever.
Right.
I always think that my core values and I push on them. So sustainability, and that branches into waste, procurement, and how we operate. So in terms of trends, I've never once followed them at all, and people should never try and follow them. I truly believe pick a passion which you love and give it 100%, then trying to be something you're not and be ahead of the game. We're chefs at the end of the day. We're not, you know, scientists trying to create the new COVID vaccination. We're here to create phenomenal food in a way that we really love. So Ugly Butterfly for me is my sustainability branch of my restaurant group. And I utilize the food waste that I do from the Adam Hanning Chelsea restaurant, the Frog restaurants. And it's my way to, you know, I got kids. I want them to live in a life where they can survive. So it's my way to get to do the right thing for the environment. And I believe instead of thinking so much about trends, think about how we can benefit the future.
All right, thank you.
Really good. Thank you for that. The Ugly Butterfly restaurant is, I personally think, is amazing, and the concept behind it. So unfortunately, I didn't get to eat there, but hopefully when we come out of this and whatever happens. We've got another student online. George, are you there? George S?
Yes, Chef.
Hi, George. So introduce yourself to Adam and ask your question.
Hi, Adam. What inspired you to be a chef? And we are inspired by you. Who inspires you?
Thank you. Actually, I became a chef not because I grew under my grandmother's table or I was excited by food when I was younger. My mum and dad are very strict, and in Scotland, university is free. So I'm Scottish, obviously. So I had to follow suit of all of my other family members, and it was go to bloody university. It's free, take advantage of the system, and get some education. I was an asshole as a child. There's no better way to describe it, so apologies for the swearing. I wasn't the best child at all. I always wanted to mess around. I always used to do stuff with my hands. So I loved art. I loved, home economics. I loved things that I didn't need to master. English and science was really not my strong point. All my friends were leaving school, and I said to my mum, man, just let me leave. I'm not going to enjoy university at all. And she says, okay, get an apprenticeship doing whatever you want. Painter, decorator, carpenter, chef, who cares? Just get it in a good establishment, and you can get your apprenticeship from there, and then carry on learning. So I got an apprenticeship as a chef, and I immediately fell in love with it. And that's when the inspiration came. So that's how I became a chef. My biggest inspirations, my biggest idols in the game is a chef called Alex Dillon. He's one of my favorite chefs that I look up to, and I ask for advice and I ask questions. The one thing is, you're never too good to ask someone for advice or help, or even just chat about an idea, a flavor, a passion. In this industry, it's really good. Doesn't matter what the position, how long you've been in it. It is very much an excitable passion. So people in this industry love to talk about this industry. So there's always a conversational starter there.
That's really good. Thank you very much for that. We've got another chef online, another student online. Chloe, are you online? Chloe B?
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourself and ask Adam your question?
So what do you look for when you're hiring chefs?
A smile. True story. The main thing for me is I don't like CVs that have worked 2 months here, 1 month there, 6 months there. For me, that shows inconsistency and weak. And I mean weak as in they give up too quickly. I don't like that. I look for people that come in with the biggest smile and the big bright eyes, because they're excited and they're really, they want to learn my style in my restaurants. They want to be surrounded by the people that have been with me for a long time. So fundamentally, a CV that is not jumpy, and someone who comes in with the biggest smile and the excitement to learn. I'll give you a little insight. I got 220 staff within my group, and my main people, all of my heads of departments plus, have been with me for years. My group chef has been with me for 13 years. He started off as my commie, and he's followed me around wherever I've gone. My head chef of West London, so all my Chelsea restaurants, been with me for 11 years. My head chef of East London's been with me 8 years. My sous chefs have been with me a long time. And I think that whole part where, yes, when you find a job, you don't find a job to be wanting to think of a next place, of a next place, of a next place. If you can still learn, stay. When you stop learning, that's when you leave.
That's really good as well, advice, and really good to hear that your staff stay with you as well for that long, and that's really good. Thank you for that. We've got another student online. Emma B, are you there?
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourself and ask Adam your question?
Hi, Adam. My question is, what is your favourite cookbook to read that is not yours, and why?
I haven't picked up my cookbook in years, to be fair. My favorite cookbooks. I love Madison Park books because the recipes in there actually work. So they're a good book to work from. I get inspiration from Sat Bain's books because they're beautifully done. One of my biggest inspirations when I was younger was the Alinea book, but now that's not, because it's way too chemical orientated. So there's a lot of books out there that are really, really good. I used to study when I was an apprenticeship. I was forced to, because my chef was the devil. He would quiz me like crazy. Larousse Gastronomique, because you need to learn the foundations. Practical Cookery, because it's the steps you need to learn to create the foundations. And the Repertoire de la Cuisine, the yellow book. And they're the 3 books that I literally read every single day for 3 years. And my chef used to really want the best out of his chefs that work there. At the end of the day, the name on your CV means that you have a certain caliber of professionalism. And he would just randomly shout out, like, Sacha, and then you had to exactly word it as it is in the Repertoire de la Cuisine, and things like that. And you learn the foundations, which You must learn the foundations of anything first before you can get a little bit excited and play around with, lots of chemicals to do soporification and things that are completely not foundation-wise. So they're the 3 books, and I know they're boring as hell. You open them, there's no pictures, because I love pictures in my book, and you're like, Jesus, this is crap. But read, learn, quiz your chef, learn the foundations, because then everything you do after that will be even better than someone that doesn't know them.
That's brilliant. Those books you've mentioned, the repertoire, those students have been studying and introduced in their first year, so it's really good. And just to mention, Emma, that's Adam's cookbook. You can buy it on Amazon. That's a long time ago that was written, wasn't it, Adam?
I think we're sold out now. So that's sold out, and I'm working on a new book that has taken me most of my career to make it. So it's something which is going to be phenomenal and absolutely ginormous.
When's that due to be out, or don't you know yet?
Well, the date keeps changing due to this bloody virus.
Yeah.
So hopefully next year.
Fantastic. That's good to watch out for. We've got a level 3 student online. He wants to ask a question. Taylor, are you online?
Hi, yes, I am, yeah.
Hi, do you want to introduce yourself to Adam and ask your question?
Hi, Adam. Yeah, my question is, what establishment of yours is your favourite and why?
The Frog in Covent Garden. Frog by Adam Handling is my favourite. And I know it's really bad to say that, because it's like your kids. You're not supposed to have a favourite child, even though for my mother, it was my fucking sister. But the Frog by Adam Handling is my favourite because I have 3 different brands. I have the Frog, which is informal dining. I have Adam Handling, which is luxury dining, ingredients, not the style of doing it. And Ugly Butterfly, the sustainability dining part. And the one in Covent Garden is the only joint brand I have, and that's because I wear a hoodie and I wear trainers everywhere I go. I don't want to dress up and pretend I'm someone not. If you need to dress up to go in that restaurant, I'm not going to that restaurant. I think food is about enjoyment. It's not about having a stick shoved so far up your ass you feel uncomfortable. So my one in Covent Garden is all about luxury. Caviar, truffles, lobster, the best of what's in this country. Phenomenal, but in an informal environment. So you can wear shorts if it's hot outside. I always wear a hoodie, so you can always do that. It's about being totally comfortable, very accessible, so that when you come in, you just automatically feel welcome. But yet you're eating the best food I can possibly do in any of my restaurants. So that restaurant, and that's the reason why.
That's really good. I also noticed in last year, I think you did the outside on the street restaurant, didn't you? When you weren't allowed people in, you called it. Is it Toad in the Road? It was.
Yeah, Toad on the Road.
Yeah, I think that was really catchy with words. That was really good. We've got one more question coming from Harrison. Are you online?
Yes, Chef, I'm here.
Hi, do you want to introduce yourself and ask Adam your question?
Hello, Adam. My question for you is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to set up their own restaurant?
That's a hard one. I've failed so much and I've succeeded so much, but the failures actually made me learn why and made my restaurants become more successful. One, you need money. A hope and a dream is not going to cut it in this country. You need money big time. So you need to create yourself finances. You need to learn finances. When it comes to being a restaurateur, it is not so much about cooking anymore. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a second. So you need to understand how to do forecasting, how to do P&Ls, profit and loss files. You need to literally put every single penny written down. If it's down to toilet paper, if it's down to window cleaners, if it's down to the gas, electricity, the staff, the uniform, every single thing you can possibly do. And understand a business plan. A business plan is more important than actually running a restaurant, because if you just go in and run a restaurant, it'll fail. If you create a business plan where you predict the worst case scenario, failing scenario, the best case scenario, you understand all avenues, nothing can trip you up. Now that's the business side of things. That's the hardest part. And me being a restaurateur, I love being in the kitchen. I was just in the kitchen now there, but I spend more time on my laptop than I do in the kitchen. when it comes to service, I'm on the pass, because service is where, you know, I really need to be. But you need to understand that you'll be dropping the excitement of why you became a chef and learning more of the business elements of things. You know, 220 staff, that's four and a bit million pound of staff cost I need to pay. You know, the rent is like over £1 million a year. You know, there's so many different things where you're thinking, holy shit, you know, I didn't even think that these little costs, they mount up. That's just two things. For everything that you buy food-wise, you need to make X amount back, because that amount back is paying the staff, it's paying the rent, it's paying the electricity. And I failed at this quite a lot, because I'm a chef at the end of the day, I'm not a business person. So really study finance, study accounts, and really have people around you that know what they're talking about. Yeah, it was very hard. I spent more times in tears than I did smiling.
But you enjoy it, don't you, though? Oh, am I okay to say that you enjoy it?
This is the best thing I've ever done. I come into work every day and I absolutely love it. But I've created the foundations. It's just as creating the foundations of being a chef, understanding classical cookery. I've created my foundations of building my restaurant grip. So therefore, I can do stuff wacky or crazy or very spur of the moment, where I'm like, yes, let's open a restaurant tomorrow. I can do that because my foundations of my company are set. I've got the team that know exactly what they're doing. They've been with me so long. When I execute something, it's ready. So my foundations for being a restaurateur are there. So it's the same way of cooking, same way of being a restaurateur.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. I believe that's all our questions we have from the students. They've been every week we do a student blog. So you were on the student blog last week, so they were researching all about you and looking into your restaurants as well. So it's really good to have you online and talking to our students. It's really helpful to get their passion going in lockdown still, as they can't get in the kitchens at the moment. So thank you very much for that, Adam. If you could stay online for 2 secs, a couple of the lecturers just want to say thank you to you. Chefs, students, you may all go back to lessons, and I'll speak to you soon. As you go, say thank you to Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come through, Daddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's quite a few of them.
Headphones going crazy there.
Thank you for your time.
No worries at all.
We'll just let them all drift off now, and then we're just left the lecturers at the end, if that's okay. How is the Homebox business going? Is that picking up?
Yeah, I do about 4,500 to 5,000 dishes a week. So yeah, in the shit, to be fair.
That's really good. It's got a couple left to go.
Adam, it's Andy, one of the lecturers. Is your home food thing I guess it must be financially viable. You're not just doing it to keep the places ticking over.
Well, we started it purely out of the fact is, you know, landlords demanding rent, electricity, gas bills still coming out my arse, but no revenue coming in. And we created it more so just to make sure I didn't lose any more restaurants, because I lost 4 restaurants in the first lockdown. And now it's let's just say it's pretty awesome.
That's good.
Makes more money than a restaurant, and it's tax free because it's takeaway.
Beautiful.
Every little helps.
It does indeed. So we've got my boss online, Miss Gwen Grace, as well. She online now? Yeah.
Online, thank you. Adam, thank you so much for giving up your precious time to talk to our students and to inspire them. They're sick of our 4 faces at the moment, so seeing your nice fresh face is absolutely amazing to them. So I'd just like to say thank you. And also I'd like to say thank you for mentoring some of our students that were able to put the mother dish into a competition with Leslie Waters. So thank you so much for spending time with them, cooking with them, and giving them your expertise. So yes, thank you.
Not a problem at all.
Fantastic. Well, we'll leave you to your day, and hopefully it gets busier and busier. So thank you very much again, Adam, for that.
No worries at all. Have a great day, guys.
And you too.
See you later.
Cheers. Thank you, Adam.
Bye.
Bye-bye.